In our past life, my junior sister recklessly challenged a third-grade white spirit python beyond her level, suffering severe soul damage. I risked my life to rescue her, promising to find soul-calming grass for her recovery, yet she ran to our master in tears, falsely accusing me of harming her. The master forced me to surrender a wisp of my own soul as compensation. From then on, I'd choke on water and lose grip of my sword during practice, my spiritual roots dimmed. Cultivation regressing instead of advancing. In the end, I became completely mortal. Fellow disciples avoided me like the plague, while junior sister wept about my curse bringing misfortune. Rushing to help my junior sister, my senior brother cut me down with his sword. When I opened my eyes again, I was back to the time when my junior sister was about to challenge the level 3 white spirit python. Senior sister, I've reached the great perfection of chi condensation. And the bottleneck for foundation establishment has loosened. As long as I defeat this white spirit python, I'm sure I can break through and establish my foundation. The junior sister opened her storage pouch and pulled out a spirit sword. Besides, I have the demon-slaying sword gifted by my senior brother. I clutched my chest. The searing pain from the sword's piercing wound still lingered. The demonic beast's roar confirmed this was no illusion. I had truly been reborn. Reborn at the pivotal moment that would alter my destiny. I'm the senior disciple sister of Azure Peak at Xian Tian sect, and I've just completed my foundation establishment. Senior disciple brother is currently in secluded cultivation, so, in my previous life, junior disciple sister suggested I lead the team for this training expedition. We had barely arrived at the secret realm when junior disciple sister accidentally made a commotion, attracting 2 demonic beasts. 1. To protect our youngest sister, third and fourth brothers stepped forward to lure the demonic beasts away. Unexpectedly, not long after they left, our youngest sister discovered a white spirit python in the foundation establishment mid-stage. Usually, with my foundation establishment early-stage cultivation, I could barely handle it, but now, this foundation establishment mid-stage white spirit python is giving birth. When a mother beast gives birth, even though she's weakened, her ferocity skyrockets. Once it senses its own safety or that of its snake eggs is threatened, it won't hesitate to self-destruct, taking the intruder down with it. In my previous life, I explained the risks to my junior sister, urging her to give up on this white spirit python and choose a Tier 2 demonic beast for her challenge instead, a Tier 3 white spirit python with Tier 4 spiritual power. We only have Tier 2 spiritual power, we're no match for it at all. Besides, demonic beasts become incredibly volatile and their power surges when they're giving birth. It's definitely not something we can handle. To my surprise, my junior sister shot me a furious glare. Are you afraid I'll surpass you in cultivation, senior sister? Though my skills may pale before this demonic beast, with elder brother's demon-slaying sword and master's nascent soul strike talisman, this creature doesn't stand a chance. Ignoring my protests, she leapt forward. Sword aimed straight at the white spirit python. Sensing danger, the python reared its head, bearing venomous fangs in warning. My junior sister seized the opportunity when the white spirit python wasn't paying attention, stabbed it with her sword, and then quickly retreated. This repeated provocation completely enraged the white spirit python, and its power surged instantly. My junior sister stopped attacking and hid behind me, her face pale with fear, her voice trembling. Sister, I was wrong. Please save me, sister. The white spirit python is incredibly vengeful. Once provoked, it will pursue you relentlessly until one of you is dead. Everything happened so fast. Before I could even react, the white spirit python was already upon me. My junior sister shoved me towards the white spirit python and then quickly fled. What she didn't realize was that the white spirit python resented her constant provocations far more than it resented me. The white spirit python launched several soul-piercing attacks in quick succession. I fought with all my might, barely managing to block most of them. However, a small portion of the soul-piercing attacks still shot straight towards my junior sister. My junior sister lacked combat experience. She just kept running, completely oblivious to the incoming attacks. She was struck by one of the soul-piercing needles, injuring her spirit and causing her to collapse. I unleashed all my magical artifacts, finally forcing the white spirit python to self-destruct. I was also caught in the explosion, severely wounded and knocked to the ground. My third and fourth senior brothers, who arrived shortly after, brought my junior sister and me back to the sect for treatment, but to my surprise, when my junior sister woke up, she burst into tears and complained to our master. She falsely accused me of trying to steal her demon-slaying sword and deliberately provoking the white spirit python, which resulted in her spiritual essence being damaged. Upon learning of her injury, our senior brother stopped his cultivation and emerged from seclusion earlier than planned. Without a second thought, he struck me with a palm, sending me, still gravely injured and barely conscious, flying. My master, his face etched with disappointment, cursed me as a wicked disciple. He even disregarded my well-being, and, as my junior sister suggested, forcibly extracted a wisp of my soul to mend hers. From that day on, it felt as if I was cursed with endless bad luck. No matter how diligently I cultivated, my powers diminished instead of growing. On the other hand, my junior sister, who spends her days acting cute and spoiled, somehow keeps getting stronger. I voiced my concerns to Master and my senior brother, but then my junior sister came running, crying that ever since she took on that wisp of my soul, she's been plagued by bad luck because of me. Master, who hadn't been particularly concerned about my situation, immediately investigated when he heard my junior sister was implicated. He discovered my spiritual root was dim, and I had completely become immortal. Hearing this, my junior sister burst into tears, took out her demon-slaying sword, and offered it to me, begging me to spare her and not turn her into a mortal. My senior brother's heart ached when he saw his junior sister crying, with bloodshot eyes. He seized the opportunity while our master wasn't looking, grabbed the demon-slaying sword, and ran me through with a single thrust. Before I died, my junior sister embraced me, her eyes brimming with tears, yet I saw a glint of mockery and triumph in them. I heard a mechanical voice, "Congratulations, host, you have successfully acquired all the destiny of this world's daughter of destiny. Once she perishes, you will officially replace her as this world's daughter of destiny." Only then did I realize that all of my junior sister's schemes and machinations were merely to seize my destiny. My master sighed and instructed the senior disciple to give me a proper burial. The senior disciple, busy comforting the frightened junior sister, casually tossed me into the monster forest behind the sect. My body was torn apart and devoured by the beasts. My bones were used by the monsters to build their lairs. The heavenly Tao, which had once sheltered me, merely rumbled a few times in the sky, parting the clouds before vanishing. I cherished my sect and devoted myself to the pursuit of the Tao, only to meet a gruesome end. My body utterly destroyed, the resentment in my heart lingered, refusing to dissipate, perhaps out of a touch of compassion. The departing heavenly Tao flicked a finger, and a streak of white light entered my soul. The next time I opened my eyes, I was back at the pivotal moment that changed my destiny. Senior sister, I've reached the great perfection of chi condensation. The bottleneck to foundation establishment has loosened. As long as I capture this white spirit python, I'm sure I can break through and establish my foundation. Besides, I have the severing that senior brother gave me, before my junior sister could finish her sentence. I seized the moment she wasn't paying attention and knocked her out with a swift chop. The white spirit python, already on high alert, slowly retreated back into its cave to continue laying eggs. Once it saw me leaving with my junior sister, carrying my junior sister, I met up with my third and fourth junior brothers, who had rushed back, seeing our junior sister unconscious, their eyes filled with concern. "Senior sister, what happened to our junior sister? Why is she unconscious?" "So, you're not hurt?" Before I could answer, my junior sister slowly regained consciousness. After understanding the situation, she burst into tears, hugging our third junior brother. "Wah, wah, wah, third senior brother, fourth senior brother, please don't be angry. Senior sister didn't mean it. She did it for my own good. She doesn't want me to advance too quickly and end up with an unstable foundation." Upon hearing this, fourth junior brother glanced at little junior sister's solid foundation. When he looked at me, his eyes were filled with displeasure. Third junior brother, relatively calmer, asked me what was going on. I briefly explained the situation, while simultaneously sending a message talisman to Master. "Senior sister, I know I have the demon-slaying sword, Master's nascent soul strike, and your assistance. Dealing with the white spirit python should be more than enough, but I also understand, after all, I joined the sect a few years after you, and catching up to your cultivation too quickly. I know, I'm sorry." senior sister, from now on, I'll listen to everything you say. If you don't want me to advance, I won't." After saying this, the junior sister raised her exquisite face, tears streaming down her cheeks, looking utterly wronged and pitiful. Fourth junior brother, who already disliked me, exploded upon hearing the junior sister's words. "Senior sister, I can't believe after all these years as fellow disciples, you're so manipulative. Just because you're the senior sister, you don't want junior sister's cultivation to advance faster than yours. What exactly are your intentions?" The third disciple patted his sobbing junior sister, who was cradled in his arms. "Senior sister, I only call you that out of respect. In cultivation, the strong reign supreme. Our junior sister may have joined the sect after you, but her talent is exceptional. And she advances quickly. You shouldn't stand in the way of her progress." Even after being reborn, this situation still left me feeling utterly stifled, like a lie repeated often enough becomes the truth. They were convinced I was in the wrong, so of course, they wouldn't listen to my explanations. Just then, our master, having received a message through a communication talisman, rushed over. I breathed a sigh of relief, seeing that my junior sister was unharmed. The junior sister threw herself into Master's arms, sobbing and whimpering, clearly feeling wronged. "Master, please don't blame senior sister. She did it for my own good. I'll try my best to suppress my cultivation from now on, so I don't surpass her." "Junior sister, don't speak for her. She's just jealous of you. I knew it was dangerous to fight a white spirit python above my cultivation level. It's even more dangerous to fight a white spirit python while it's giving birth." But then I saw my junior sister's tear-reddened eyes. My master looked at me with great displeasure, yet he couldn't scold me too harshly. "As the senior disciple, I sent you out with Lyra for this trial specifically to help her build her foundation and increase her cultivation, knowing that the white spirit python isn't suitable for her. You shouldn't have let her see it and upset her." Ever since our junior sister joined the sect, it seems Master and all the brothers have collectively lost their minds. I knew that any further argument at this point would only displease Master more, so I lowered my head. "I'm sorry, Master, your disciple was wrong." Host, this is the perfect time to suggest that the daughter of fortune take you to slay the white spirit python. If you get injured, are you an idiot? My master and two senior brothers are here. How could they possibly let her take me to fight the white spirit python alone? And Mara, seriously, why did she have to call Master over and ruin my plans? Then, she got off easy this time. I'll just have to find another opportunity. Under the protection of her master and fellow disciples, the junior sister remained completely unharmed and successfully subdued the white spirit python. From then on, until the end of the mystic realm, the junior sisters' anticipated breakthrough in cultivation never materialized. Throughout their journey, the junior sister nestled comfortably in her master's arms. To an outsider, they looked less like master and disciple and more like a pair of Tao companions. My junior sister's gaze, whenever it fell upon me, was always filled with provocation. I remembered my past life, how I died because of her greed. Boundless hatred surged within me. This master, this junior brother, and the senior brother who ran me through with a sword. I won't let a single one of them off this time. Upon returning to the sect, my immediate priority was to head to my dwelling and solidify my foundation establishment. For cultivators, that is, after achieving foundation establishment, the very first thing one must do is consolidate their foundation. This prevents instability in their cultivation realm, which could cause them to regress back to the chi condensation stage. But Master heard that my junior sister had reached the great perfection of chi cultivation and was just waiting to establish her foundation. He summoned me out of seclusion, despite my unstable cultivation, to take my junior sister out for practical training. Now, my cultivation is becoming unstable, and solidifying my foundation is an urgent priority. But shortly after I returned to my dwelling, my junior sister started shaking the protective barrier from outside. I overheard her conversation with the system. "System, are you saying her current cultivation is unstable and needs to be solidified urgently?" "Yes, host. The weaker the daughter of fortune's cultivation, the more advantageous it is for you." "Good. Have the items been placed in her storage pouch?" "Yes, host." Sitting inside, I felt a sudden jolt. I quickly used my spiritual sense to check my storage pouch. Sure enough, I found a spirit cleansing herb had appeared in it, seemingly out of nowhere. In the cultivation world, for cultivators with dual or triple spirit roots. A single spirit cleansing herb is worth a heaven-tier cultivation technique. A treasure rarely found. Should news of a cultivator possessing a spirit cleansing herb ever leak, they would undoubtedly be hunted down by the entire cultivation world. Looks like my junior sister is getting desperate to get her hands on my good fortune. Outside the barrier, senior sister, the barrier began to sway under her frantic pounding. I sent a voice transmission talisman to Elder Zane of the sect's enforcement hall. Right now, I urgently need to solidify my foundations. So it's not appropriate to get too entangled with my junior sister. Elder Zane, on the other hand, is known for his absolute impartiality in enforcing the rules. According to the sect's regulations, he would absolutely not allow my junior sister to disturb me at this time. I casually reinforced the barrier with 2 more layers. As the barrier strengthened, my junior sister's voice became much fainter. I immediately sat in meditation to absorb spiritual energy, broaden my meridians, and solidify my foundation. 2. This seclusion lasted for 3 days. 3 days later, I opened the barrier. I saw a crowd of people standing outside. My junior sister's face turned ashen when she saw my stable cultivation. Master and my fellow disciples didn't look too pleased to see me either. Elder Zane, holding the discipline whip, stood to one side and nodded in satisfaction when he saw my cultivation level. I stepped forward to pay my respects. Before I could finish my greeting, my 4th junior brother extended his hand towards me, a look of disdain on his face. Hand it over. I feigned ignorance. Stop pretending. Senior sister, you stole junior sister's things, now hand them over. 4th junior brother, do you know what you're saying? How can you accuse me like this? I asked, incredulous. The junior sister, who had been standing by, suddenly burst into tears and collapsed into 3rd junior brother's arms. Senior sister, if you wanted it, you could have just asked me directly. I would have listened to you, just like last time. But how could you steal it? I saw my junior sister's lips curl into a slight smirk, and I sneered inwardly, though my expression remained perfectly serious. Junior sister, what are you talking about? I've just come out of seclusion after stabilizing my cultivation. I'm not sure how I've offended you to make you slander me so openly in front of everyone. My junior sister hadn't expected me, someone she usually found easy to bully, to speak to her like this. With teary eyes, she looked at our master, her voice laced with grievance. Master, my master, with a stern face, extended his hand towards me. Hand it over, he demanded. Seeing my hesitation, my 4th junior brother stepped forward and nudged me. Senior sister, if you stole it, you stole it. Master told you to hand it over. So why are you still holding back? My 3rd junior brother also chimed in. Senior sister, Master taught us that when you make a mistake, you must own up to it. Master asking you for it now is giving you a chance. Don't let him down. I couldn't help but laugh. It was just ridiculous. I looked at Elder Zane, my face a picture of grievance. Elder Zane then proceeded to explain the situation to me. Lyra claims you stole her soul-cleansing herb. Is there any truth to this? My eyes widened in shock, and my voice shot up an octave. Spirit-cleansing grass. How could I possibly have something so rare, and how could my junior sister have it? My junior sister wriggled free from 3rd senior brother's embrace and ran over to me. Senior sister, are you looking down on Lyra? That spirit-cleansing grass was something Lyra stumbled upon in the secret realm. I know you've wanted a spirit-cleansing grass for a long time to transform your dual spirit root into a single one, but you haven't been able to find one. But still, you can't just steal Lyra's spirit grass. With her back to everyone, my junior sister's words were filled with nothing but grievance. The slight curl of her lips and the playful glint in her eyes were nothing short of a provocation. I took a deep breath and said, since you're so certain, junior sister, do you have any proof that I'm the one who stole it? Knowing that junior sister wanted to frame me again, there was no way I'd give her the chance. Of course. Junior sister's eyes gleamed with absolute certainty. I had a bad feeling about this. System, are you sure that thing works? Host, affirmative. Once the luminous chill nectar touches the skin, it will remain on the affected person for 7 days unless cleansed with dragon spring liquid. It can be detected with just a nascent soul stage spiritual sense. Alright, since senior sister mentioned evidence, would you be willing to hand over your storage pouch for inspection? I took a deep breath and looked at Master and my 2 junior brothers. Master's gaze remained cold and unyielding. My third junior brother looked utterly distraught. My fourth junior brother, being young, clearly relished my predicament. A look of schadenfreude plastered across his face after I'd been caught red-handed. I took off my storage pouch, and just as my youngest junior sister reached out for it, I handed it to Elder Zane instead, since my youngest junior sister insists on an investigation. I believe it's most appropriate for Elder Zane of the disciplinary hall to handle it. My youngest junior sister, failing to get her hands on the storage pouch, was filled with vexation. System, are you sure you saw that jade slip in her storage pouch? Host, I'm sure. My mind was blown when I heard the system could see inside my storage pouch, especially after it had already demonstrated the ability to conjure items into it out of thin air. Having such a powerful cheat at my disposal was truly terrifying. After inspecting my storage bag, Elder Zane shook his head at everyone. Fourth junior brother panicked. How can it be empty? Impossible. Little junior sister said she took it, so she must have. Elder Zane particularly disliked baseless accusations, especially after his verification. What, are you questioning if I'm covering for someone? As the nascent soul stage cultivator's oppressive aura swept over him, fourth junior brother felt an overwhelming, mountain-like pressure engulf him, leaving him gasping for air. Seeing this, Master simply raised a hand and waved away the pressure from a cultivator of the same rank. When he looked at me, his face still held a skeptical expression. Are you absolutely sure you didn't take it? I looked at my master, the one who had found me, cherished me, and raised me. Even after a lifetime, my heart is dead. But seeing his distrustful gaze again, I couldn't help but feel a pang of disappointment. Suppressing the strange feeling in my heart, I said to Elder Zane, since my master and fellow disciples don't believe me, please help me open the storage bag so everyone can inspect it. Elder Zane, at my request, unfolded the storage bag, and its contents were laid bare for all to see. No, how could they be gone? Where's my spirit cleansing herb, my jade slip? System, scan the room and her body. Check if the items are still there. The system conducted a scan. Host, the items are no longer here. Impossible. They can't be gone. Didn't you say? Me, the junior sister couldn't possibly estimate the value of the items within the jade slip. The value of the spirit cleansing grass, however, was undeniably clear. Now, the system informed her that everything, including the spirit cleansing grass, was gone. The junior sister could no longer maintain her pitiful facade and shrieked, almost letting something slip. The master and his two disciples, who were standing by, furrowed their brows for a moment before quickly regaining their composure. Realizing she had been too emotional, Lyra immediately took a step back and adopted a sorrowful demeanor. Senior sister, no matter how much you want the spirit cleansing herb, you shouldn't hide her. I went through so much to get this. Lyra already has a difficult time cultivating with her 3 spiritual roots, so please, could you hand it over? If I hadn't heard her true thoughts, I would never have believed that this seemingly frail, pitiful, and innocent woman standing before me was the one behind it all. Since senior sister isn't willing to hand it over, I guess I don't need to be so polite with her anymore. With that, the junior sister turned to face her master and Elder Zane, bowing gracefully. Master, Elder Zane. The spirit cleansing herb is incredibly precious. After Lyra acquired it, she was worried about theft, so she sprinkled frost glow dew on it. As everyone knows, once frost glow dew touches the skin, it's extremely difficult to wash off, unless you use dragon spring liquid. Oh, is what Lyra says true? The master's interest was piqued. While frost glow nectar is common, dragon spring elixir is a rare find. Moreover, Dragon Spring Elixir plays a crucial role in helping nascent soul cultivators advance. My junior sister was certain I didn't have it, and indeed, she was right. Over the years, anything good I had was always snatched away by them. Are you serious? All right. With that, a wisp of nascent soul consciousness swept over the storage bag, and simultaneously, over me. There wasn't even a trace of the luminous chill dew. No way. Absolutely not. The fourth junior disciple also started to get anxious. Did you hide it? It must have been you. Elder Zane, who was standing by, had been holding back for a long time. With a single oppressive aura, he restrained both his fourth junior brother and junior sister. My master, on the other hand, suddenly seemed quite intrigued by me. I gave a wry smile inwardly and said, since my junior brother and sister don't believe me, feel free to search. I'd also appreciate it if Master could lend a hand to prove my innocence. Master had been waiting for me to say just that. Upon hearing me, he paused for a moment to consider. This matter concerns my disciple's innocence. It is my duty as a master to prove it. With that, he stepped into the room, scanning every inch of it with his divine sense. 3. Unfortunately, he found nothing. My master emerged, letting out a sigh. Since it was all a misunderstanding, and you're all fellow disciples, I think we should just let this go. What do you say, Elder Zane? Even though they were all at the nascent soul stage, the sword cultivator's aura was undeniably more imposing. Elder Zane looked at me, and I knew he wanted to hear my thoughts. By sect rules, junior sister's disruption of my seclusion would normally warrant severe punishment. As for the spirit cleansing herbs, making baseless accusations without proof is also punishable. But Master framed the whole incident as a simple misunderstanding between fellow disciples. Whether to handle this privately or officially now rests entirely on my decision. I knew my master and the others were always on Lyra's side. If I kept pushing, it wouldn't end well for me. I remembered the warning in my master's eyes just now. I had no choice but to swallow my frustration. Bowing reluctantly, I said, "Thank you, Master and Elder Zane, for clearing my name. I am eternally grateful." My master left. My junior sister lost everything when she looked at me. Another layer of resentment flickered in her eyes. As they left, they whispered menacingly in my ear, "Mara, you just wait. You took what's mine, and sooner or later, you'll pay for it 1,000-fold. So much for keeping up appearances." After seeing everyone off, I headed straight for the Hall of Justice. When Elder Zane saw me, he set up a barrier. I respectfully knelt and kowtowed. Before going into seclusion, I overheard Lyra's conversation with the system. I knew that if I didn't handle the spirit-cleansing grass that had inexplicably appeared in my storage pouch properly, I would surely suffer a backlash. But the barrier was already down, and Lyra was waiting just outside. The moment I step out of this barrier, Lyra will know. There was no other choice. I had to report the situation to Elder Zane, the only person I trusted within the sect. In the past, Lyra had wrongly accused me, as an elder of the enforcement hall. Elder Zane could always discern right from wrong at a glance. Unfortunately, my master plays favorites, my fellow disciples, who can't tell right from wrong. Every time he looked at me, his eyes showed a hint of reluctance. This time, after I explained the situation, Elder Zane chose to believe me. In my previous life, after Lyra framed me with false accusations, Elder Zane was the only one in the entire sect who believed me. After my cultivation continued to decline and Lyra's realm kept growing, it was also Elder Zane who warned me to be wary of Lyra. I never got the chance for Elder Zane and the sect leader to deliver justice for me. Instead, my senior disciple brother ran me through with his sword, leaving not even a complete corpse behind. For a nascent soul cultivator, it's child's play to manipulate objects from a distance without a chi condensation grand perfection disciple ever knowing. Even though I was extremely cautious, after overhearing Lyra's conversation with the system, I still didn't touch the storage bag containing the spirit cleansing herb. I also changed out of the clothes I was wearing and put them into the storage bag along with everything else. Yet I accidentally got Frostglow sap on the new storage pouch. Elder Zane noticed it immediately. Somehow he managed to cover it up for me. Elder Zane is returning the storage pouch to me. I shook my head, refusing. With my current abilities, I'm not yet capable of disposing of the fluorescent frost liquid. Since Elder Zane was able to cover for me, he must have a way to get rid of the fluorescent liquid. Besides, I have no intention of purifying my dual spiritual roots into a single one. Elder Zane asked, "Spirit cleansing herbs are extremely rare. Are you truly refusing them?" I met Elder Zane's gaze. This disciple knows his limitations. I lack the strength to safeguard such a treasure. Moreover, my golden lightning dual roots are already exceptionally rare. For a sword cultivator, golden lightning roots are actually far superior to any single elemental root. A metal spirit root is simply the mark of a born sword cultivator, and a lightning spirit root is an even more potent tool for enduring lightning tribulations. Seeing my refusal, Elder Zane had no choice but to offer spirit stones of equal value in exchange. He also gifted me a heaven-tier cultivation technique. My master only ever taught me the most basic earth-tier cultivation techniques, if I'm going to take on Lyra and her crew, one Earth-tier technique just won't cut it. Elder Zane's Heaven-tier technique is exactly what I needed, a true godsend. After securing the technique, I headed straight to the mission hall, picked up a long-term assignment, and left the mountain. As I reached White Cloud Town, a message from Lyra suddenly arrived. Senior sister, where are you going? Can Lyra come with you to train? I promise I won't be a bother, I scoffed, put away the communication talisman, and continued on my way. Lyra wants to absorb my luck, so she has to stay close to me, not to mention, she also wants a wisp of my divine consciousness to accelerate her absorption of destiny. There's no way I'd let her have her way, in this life, if I want to avoid a tragic death like in my previous one. I must become stronger than my master, so strong that he wouldn't dare lay a hand on me. I'm strong enough to deal with them, regardless of what anyone thinks. Until then, I'm not going back to the sect, nor do I plan to interact with them. The jade slip Lyra and the system were looking for on me, I've already refined it during my seclusion. The information on the jade slip guided me to a secret realm. I found the secret realm mentioned on the jade slip, tens of thousands of miles away from the sect. Using the secret technique hidden within the jade slip, I opened the barrier to the secret realm. Watching the barrier quickly close behind me, I let out a sigh of relief. The mystic realm abounds with spirit beasts and herbs. After countless hardships, I finally located the inheritance ground mentioned on the jade slip, successfully obtained the mystic realm's legacy, Heaven-tier body cultivation techniques, Heaven-tier soul cultivation techniques, alchemy. Elder Zane bestowed upon me a sky-tier swordplay manual. When these four elements harmonize, swordplay becomes even more potent. Within the mystic realm, there's a pool of lightning liquid. It's imbued with an incredibly concentrated power of lightning. In the beginning, I'd drink 2 drops of lightning essence daily to temper my body and forge my spirit. Each time, my veins would rupture inch by inch, only to slowly heal again, as I continued to refine my body and spirit day after day. The veins in my body expanded, allowing me to absorb and store more spiritual energy. Later, I started guzzling the lightning fluid, and eventually, I was bathing in it while I drank. On top of that, I practiced my swordplay relentlessly every single day. Through this, I grasped the essence of the sword, and my mastery of the sword arts grew exponentially. 20 years later, my cultivation skyrocketed from the early foundation establishment stage all the way to the perfected golden core stage. Once I leave this mystic realm, I'll face the heavenly lightning tribulation and form my golden core. Having left the mystic realm, I'm now looking for a suitable place to undergo my tribulation. Halfway there, I encountered my spirit beast, the divine phoenix. Upon seeing me, the divine phoenix immediately sent a signal towards the sect. With a swift move, I cut off the signal and summoned the divine phoenix to my side. The divine phoenix was still a hatchling. It reluctantly came to my side at my command. When it looked at me, there was absolutely no respect in its eyes for me, its savior. When the divine phoenix was still an egg, it was pursued by unknown forces and fled to the lower realm. As it lay exhausted and near death, I, with my mid-level chi condensation cultivation, took it and hid it everywhere. We barely made it out alive. Surviving was pure luck. To save its life, it willingly entered into an equal contract with me. But after returning to the sect with me, it grew even closer to Lyra. In my previous life, I didn't pay much mind to their deep affection for each other, so much so that later, when it betrayed me, I couldn't believe it even as I died. At that time, my senior disciple brother ran me through with a sword, but it didn't hit any vital organs. Just one low-grade hemostatic pill would be enough to fully heal my injuries. But back then, the divine phoenix looked down on me from above. Indifferent to my pleas, even crushing the very pill that could have saved my life right before my eyes, it said, "Human, I am a divine beast from another realm, and you have seen me at my most vulnerable. You must die." In that moment, all I felt was sorrow. After my rebirth, I was busy dealing with Lyra. I had completely forgotten about it. I grabbed the divine phoenix by the neck and, while it was distracted, forged a master-servant contract with it. This time, I'm the master, and it's the servant. Did it really think I wouldn't notice it secretly dissolving our equal contract behind my back? And now it stands before me, pretending to be obedient. You just want to stay by my side and gather information for Lyra. The master-servant contract was sealed, and the divine phoenix was furious. I collapsed to the ground, watching its impotent rage, and couldn't stop my trembling laughter. The divine phoenix glared at me hysterically. Human, how dare you force a master-servant contract upon me? Do you have a death wish? Regardless, the divine phoenix is a mythical beast. I just forcibly bound it to a master-servant contract, and my spiritual consciousness took a severe hit. Even so, I will make sure it shares my life and death. I'll put it into the spirit beast pouch. Flying on my sword, I headed for the secret realm. Before attempting to form the golden core, I needed to spend time restoring my spirit. Following the secret method, I re-entered the mystic realm. Barely a moment after I entered the secret realm, 4 figures paused at the entrance to the secret realm. One of them pulled out a phoenix feather. This is it. The divine phoenix's aura just vanished right here. Humph. When I get my hands on her, she won't get off easy. Back in the land of inheritance, inside the secret realm, I remained completely oblivious to everything happening outside. I sat cross-legged, activating the divine soul art to begin mending my soul. The soul mending process took a full 6 months. For those 6 months, I kept the divine phoenix confined in my spirit beast pouch. It had become much quieter compared to when I first put it in there. I extracted a drop of its heart's blood and absorbed it into my body for refinement. The divine phoenix tried to fight back with all its might, but it was ultimately a step too late. If I were to sign a master-servant contract with it, the servant would die if the master died, but the master would not die if the servant died. But the divine phoenix is, after all, a divine beast. Death simply means nirvana. I can't afford to take that gamble. I can only refine a single drop of its essence blood to establish a bloodline connection with it. Perhaps it realized the tide had turned. The divine phoenix showed me considerable respect, and also considerable submission. After refining the phoenix's essence blood, I re-emerged from the secret realm. Upon sensing a faint bloodline connection, I used my divine phoenix power to burn that connection to ash. Meanwhile, the 4 individuals who had just sensed the presence of the divine phoenix completely lost their target after the phoenix spirit feather spontaneously combusted. I'll choose a prime location and, after enduring the tribulations of the 4-9 thunder tribulation, successfully advance to the golden core stage. Then I'll return to the secret realm and continue my cultivation. Cultivation knows no time. It took me 100 years to form my nascent soul, 200 years to reach the soul transformation stage, and 300 years to reach the late soul transformation stage. Just one step away from ascension, the tribulation of inner demons. 600 years later, I've returned to the sect, seeing my master again. He's still only in the early nascent soul stage. His progress is incredibly slow. And my senior brother, who killed me with a single sword strike in my past life, is now merely in the early core formation stage. My 3rd junior brother, who was always a man of few words, had only reached the late stage golden core realm. To my surprise, my 4th junior brother, that hot-headed simp for Bai Ling, had already perished years ago. Then I saw Lyra's cultivation level, late stage nascent soul, and I just had to laugh. It seems that in the years I've been gone, Lyra must have siphoned off quite a bit of good fortune from those around her. Otherwise, with her inferior 3-element spiritual root and lazy cultivation habits, how could she possibly surpass our senior disciple brother, who has a supreme single-element spiritual root, or our 3rd disciple brother, with his superior dual-element spiritual root, and stand shoulder to shoulder with our master? Now, seeing me again, the 4 of them, master and the 3 disciples, have gone from strangers to enraged. Senior disciple brother stepped forward, raising his hand to strike me. So you finally decided to show your face. Where have you been all these years? After stealing your junior sister's spirit cleansing herb and fleeing the sect, you actually have the nerve to come back now. I gently raised my hand, neutralizing his attack. My 3rd junior brother was stunned by my cultivation level. Senior sister, what's your cultivation level now? My senior disciple brother was utterly shocked when he saw that I had deliberately suppressed my cultivation to the early nascent soul stage. He couldn't fathom how I, with a cultivation level supposedly on par with his, could effortlessly neutralize his attack with a mere flick of my wrist. Lyra secretly chuckled, observing that my cultivation was 2 stages below hers. System. Can I seize her luck now, host? It's detected that the daughter of Fortune's cultivation is lower than yours. You can quickly absorb her power by seizing her soul. Ha 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 ha, excellent. Back then, I needed my master's help to get her soul. Now that I'm in the late nascent soul stage, my cultivation far surpasses hers. Taking her soul will be effortless. Host, it's recommended to seize it discreetly. No, I've waited 600 years. I can't wait any longer. Just then, a loud, echoing voice boomed from outside the hall. Ha 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 ha. I heard that fellow Daoist Ho has returned after forming his nascent soul, so I've specially come to offer my congratulations. I looked towards the sound and saw Elder Zane striding in from outside the hall. His cultivation had already reached the mid-stage of the soul transformation realm. Greetings, Elder Zane. Oh, there's no need to be so formal, fellow Daoist Ho. I heard that fellow Daoist Jiang Hong has some misunderstandings about fellow Daoist Ho, so I came specifically to clarify. I recall that all of you present were there back then. Fellow Daoist Ho's innocence was cleared right then and there. Why hasn't fellow Daoist Nix explained this to her eldest disciple? Elder Zane looked at my master with a beaming smile. Hearing this, my master and senior disciple brothers' faces alternated between green and purple, their expressions unreadable. Lyra, standing by, continued her conversation with the system. With your capabilities combined with my nascent soul cultivation, we can truly seize it without anyone ever knowing. Yes, host, as long as the other party's cultivation is lower than yours, it's possible. All right, let's begin now. Host, shouldn't you wait until no one is around? What if it draws too much attention? Didn't you say that those whose souls are seized will suffer immensely? I just want to see her in agony. Begging for mercy in front of everyone. Ha 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 ha. Just thinking about it makes me happy. Alright, host, prepare to receive the goddess of fortune's soul. Ding, system in progress. I felt a jolt of numbness shoot through my brain, so I quickly chanted a spell to enhance my soul's power. For years, I've been searching for a way to crack the system, but I haven't found a solution yet. All I can do is keep honing my skills and strengthening my spiritual power. After all these years, my spiritual power has become unassailable. After a brief moment of numbness, my mind quickly cleared. Lyra collapsed to the ground in agony as a large mouthful of blood gushed out. System, what's going on? Host, the system encountered the strongest entity while seizing the soul. It's been backfired. System warning. Host's soul is injured. The master, who had been seated at the head of the table, was the first to rush to Lyra's side. He scooped up the unconscious Lyra from the ground, cradling her in his arms. His face was etched with anxiety. Lyra, what's wrong? Lyra, junior sister. I stood coldly to the side, watching the master and his two disciples fret over a woman, especially my master, who was usually as calm as a still well, was clearly flustered at this moment. I suggest you quickly check on Lyra, fellow Daoist Nix, lest we delay her treatment. Yes. Master only snapped back to reality after Elder Zane's reminder. He calmly began to examine Lyra's condition. Her soul is damaged. How could Lyra's soul be damaged? His bloodshot eyes swept across everyone present. His gaze halted when it landed on me. It was you, wasn't it? You're the one who harmed Lyra's soul. Keeping my composure, I glanced at my master. Do you have proof, master? Evidence? What evidence? You're the only one here who dislikes Lyra. You not only stole her spirit herbs but also constantly suppressed and bullied her. Senior brother glared at me, his teeth gritted, and roared. I scoffed. It seems senior brother not only doesn't trust me, but he also doesn't trust master or the sect's disciplinary hall. He only trusts junior sister. If that's the case, I have nothing more to say. Just as senior brother and third brother erupted, Lyra, who had been unconscious, suddenly let out a soft moan. Master, senior sister hurt me. The moment her voice faded, I saw a flash of murderous intent in my master's eyes. I once tried to locate the system within Lyra, but despite my formidable cultivation, I couldn't find any trace of it. Now, the first thing Lyra does upon waking is accuse me. This kind of soul attack leaves virtually no trace, making it incredibly difficult to detect. I can't prove my innocence, but I won't let her slander and hurt me either. Even now, Lyra still insists on this. Seems she hasn't given up on trying to seize my soul, but this time, she wished for her master to help her just like in her past life. The master passed Lyra to the senior disciple. In a flash, he was right before me, since you're the one who harmed her, you'll pay with your very soul." With that, he placed his palm on my head, beginning to seize my very soul. "No, fellow Taoist Nix. The truth is not yet clear. How can you act so rashly?" Elder Zane flew in front of me, deflecting the spiritual energy Master had directed at me with a wave of his hand. Master stumbled, enraged that his plans had been thwarted. "Why not? What's unclear?" Lyra herself admitted it. "Then it must be her doing." My gaze at Master grew steadily colder. "Fellow Taoist Nix. To only hear one side of the story is surely biased. Mara, how dare you address our master like this? Such insolence." The senior brother scolded me while still clutching Lyra protectively in his arms. I ignored their judgment. Lyra falsely accused me of stealing her spirit-cleansing herbs, but the discipline hall verified my innocence on the spot. As for her claims that I bullied or humiliated her, did any of you witness it? Can anyone testify to that? Now that Lyra's injured, everyone present is suspect. Yet Elder Nix took her word as truth without investigation and attacked me. By what right? Because you admitted me to this sect, because you're my master. Does that give you license to pin all blame on me without evidence? A blind and heartless fool like you is unfit to be my master, let alone my senior or junior brother. You're a traitor," Nix fumed, trembling all over. Meanwhile, the third senior disciple, who had been listening to me, thought back carefully over the years. It seemed, indeed, that they had always only heard the junior disciple sister's side of the story. The first senior disciple, holding Lyra, also fell into deep thought. Realizing something was wrong, Lyra struggled and cried out. "First senior disciple, third senior disciple, I'm hurting, master, I'm hurting." The moment Lyra cried out in pain, the brief daze that had fallen over them vanished instantly. Nix looked at Lyra, her eyes filled with tender concern. When her gaze shifted to me, her eyes were brimming with murderous intent. "You hurt Lyra, don't even try to deny it." With that, she lunged at me again, aiming straight for my soul. I glanced at Elder Zane and let out a helpless sigh. My spiritual energy surged instantly, propelling me straight to the late stage of soul transformation. Everyone present was stunned into silence by my sudden surge in cultivation, and no one spoke for a long time. After a good while, Elder Zane exclaimed, "Fellow Taoist Ho, you've reached the grand completion of the late stage soul transformation, as you can all see. I've reached the ascension stage. All that's left is the heart demon tribulation. I originally intended to spare you, considering our many years as master and disciples, fellow sect members, but alas, you are truly foolish. You've been completely duped by a mere girl with a low-grade triple spirit root. Not only have you handed over cultivation resources, but she's also siphoning off your luck. Ha 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 ha, utterly foolish." Hearing my words, everyone was shocked once more. Lyra's already pale face turned even whiter. You're spouting nonsense, master, senior brother, junior brother 3, don't listen to her blather. She concealed her cultivation first, then injured me. She disrespects master, she disrespects her elders. She's utterly despicable. Oh really? Then let's let everyone see who's truly lying. I flashed in front of Lyra. The late-stage soul transformation pressure immobilized everyone present. My spiritual energy swept across Lyra's head. Soon, a chaotic mechanical noise erupted in Lyra's mind. "Host, save me." System disengaging from host. System detaching from host. Host detachment complete. Host detachment complete. As Lyra screamed, a nearly translucent white light materialized in my palm. It struggled desperately to escape. I caught it in one swift grab. Interesting. So this is the so-called system in your mind. This thing dares to covet my destiny. Spare me, have mercy, immortal one. The instant the system broke free from Lyra's control, like clouds parting, clarity gradually dawned upon Nix and his 2 disciples. Memories came flooding back to them in waves. Scenes of how they blindly followed Lyra's words and oppressed me at every turn flashed through their minds frame by frame, to the point where they could barely distinguish reality. I grabbed the little thing called system and demanded, "Tell me, what have you done to them?" After a series of mechanical squeals and protests, System realized it couldn't escape my grasp and gradually stopped struggling. Delusion. I cast delusion upon them. What is Hua? It's a bewitchment, similar to what you'd call goo in your world. So how did you help Lyra absorb her luck? As long as the person whose luck is to be absorbed firmly believes in the host, the host can absorb their luck through me. However, you are immune to the bewitchment effect, which slows down the host's absorption of your luck. The best and most direct way is to acquire a wisp of your soul. Then the host can directly and quickly absorb your luck. Why was Lyra's soul injured? Because your cultivation level is higher than the host's. The host suffered a backlash, so what happens to those whose luck is drained? I looked at Nyx and the other two, whose faces were extremely grim, and continued to ask. Their cultivation progresses slowly, or even regresses, eventually leaving them as mere mortals. I wondered why my cultivation has progressed so slowly all these years. So, it was all your doing. Lyra was thrown to the ground by the senior disciple, letting out a piercing scream. You deserve to die, in the blink of an eye. The senior disciple snatched by Ling's life-bound demon-slaying sword and attempted to stab Lyra, but the demon-slaying sword had already recognized Lyra as its master, leaving the senior disciple unable to deliver the fatal blow. I stepped before Lyra, looking down at her despair-stricken face with cold detachment. Lyra, did you ever imagine this day would come when you stole from others? A dazed look flashed through Lyra's eyes before she suddenly let out a low chuckle. How does it feel, Mara? To have your destiny drained, reduced to a mortal, slain by your own senior brother's blade, devoured by beasts. I defeated you in our past life, you've defeated me in this one. Neither of us truly won. As I watched her, I realized she had also been reborn. Well, maybe it's for the best. If she had died for no clear reason, I would have been left with a lingering sense of injustice. I crushed the system in my hand, and Phoenix fire incinerated it to ashes. Seeing this, Lyra screamed, no. Lyra, you only beat me because of that thing. I beat you with my own skill. So, when you look at it that way, who do you think really won? After the system vanished, Lyra's cultivation rapidly deteriorated. Her body gradually withered with age. With her dying breath, she slurred out defiant words. I refused to accept this. As the words faded, her form shriveled into a mummy, then crumbled to dust, vanishing into the void. Nyx and his two apprentices finally snapped out of their daze after Lyra vanished. They just heard revelations about past lives and present fates. The senior disciple collapsed onto the ground, looking at me weakly. Little sister, did I really kill you in our past life? I shot him a sidelong glance before approaching Nyx, who was equally consumed by remorse. He returned his disciple token to them, saying, from today on, you are no longer my master or senior brothers. And I am no longer your disciple or junior sister. After saying that, he glanced at Elder Zane, who had been observing the entire process. Elder Zane, it's time to go. Elder Zane burst into 3 hearty laughs. Fellow Taoist ho, wait for me. Elder Zane caught up, his eyes twinkling with amusement. Fellow Taoist ho, have you overcome your inner demon tribulation? I simply smiled without a word and headed toward the ascension site at the sect's rear mountain. Brother Zane, would you mind standing guard for me? 3. Just then, a small head popped out from the spirit beast pouch. You promised, if I helped you deal with that system, you'd set me free. I smacked the divine phoenix back into the pouch. Dream on, think carefully. Did I ever explicitly agree to that? Back then, I retorted, what gives a backstabbing, selfish, ungrateful bastard of a bird the right to negotiate with me? Show me what you're made of first if you want to bargain. The damned bird recalled my words and wailed pitifully inside the spirit beast pouch. I spared Nyx and his 2 disciples when it struck me. They were just pitiful puppets controlled by Lyra and that system, but this wretched bird had been fully aware all along. How could I ever forgive a traitor? Since the upper realm has its enemies, I'll gladly send it on its way. The end. Story 2. My ex-boyfriend had the ability of precognition. He thought he had concealed it very well. He took away my house from me because it would become a school district house in a year. I got 3 million yuan from selling the house because the zombie apocalypse would break out in 3 years, and my house would become the area with the highest concentration of zombies in City A. 1. I bought my house with the money I saved from working part-time during college. Having my own house was my life creed. I bought it for 800,000 yuan, with a down payment of 300,000 yuan. Although it was old and small, I still spent 2 months carefully renovating it. I ran around a lot to choose the curtains, and I knelt down to lay the floorboards one by one. Only after having this cozy little nest did I feel a sense of belonging in this strange city. My ex-boyfriend clearly knew how important this house was to me, but he still coaxed me into selling it. He sold it to his mother. Because he knew that the wholesale market 100 meters to the east was going to be demolished and a primary school would be built there, and this house was going to become a school district house. Before it was even certain, he started throwing away my old shoes and putting his new shoes there. His handsome face was full of arrogance, and he increasingly regarded himself as the owner of the house. He almost forgot that when I bought the house, he would rather urge his mother to buy a car than lend me a penny. When his mother saw me, she immediately said she would buy it for 500,000 yuan. She said it would just be enough to pay off my 500,000 yuan loan and let me use it to release the mortgage. I was stunned and said that I had also paid a down payment of 300,000 yuan. Obviously, I bought the house for 800,000 yuan. His mother said, "Oh, you're with my son, just consider it as your dowry." I looked at him in disbelief. But then I heard him click on the voice message from his junior schoolmate. "Senior, my mother hopes to have a school district house as our wedding house, too." At that moment, I realized that I couldn't have this man anymore, and I came to this city just for him. Since that was the case, it was also possible to consider selling the house and moving to another city to live. As for the price, I went to the real estate agency the next day. There was an uncle with a big and strong build in the agency. I had helped him find his truant kid before, so we had a good relationship. The uncle said that recently, the rumor of building a school district house was spreading widely, and the prices in this area were all rising. "It's very easy to sell, damn it, the prices have risen to over 2 million yuan. Who said 500,000 yuan? I'd like to slap that person's head off. Isn't this bullying?" I had an idea in my mind. That night, I opened a bottle of red wine and drank by myself, just considering it as a farewell to the 3-year shitty relationship. After drinking the wine, I had a dream. In the dream, I didn't sell the house, but I didn't break up either. We just muddled along. I was as if possessed, clinging to this man, letting his parents move into my carefully decorated house. I was looking forward to getting pregnant and hoping that the price of the school district house would rise further. Finally, the zombies came, and this man pushed me out of the door. And the zombies with drooling mouths rushed towards me. I woke up in severe pain, and I felt really bad. Was I crazy? Subconsciously, I turned on the TV, and the morning news was reporting the news that a food tycoon donated money to build a Hope primary school. It was exactly the same as in the dream. I was shocked. Was this precognition or rebirth? I quickly wrote down all the details of the dream. For a whole 3 years, I remembered clearly every piece of news that was on the hot search. Before the apocalypse came, this was my biggest asset, for, as soon as the real estate agency opened, I went to find the uncle. The uncle was answering phone calls one after another, grinning while holding his phone, and said that this house was very popular. "Do you really want to sell it? There were 7 or 8 buyers who came last night. The fastest one wants to come to see the house this afternoon." I said, "I really want to sell it, and I want to sell it this morning. I can't bear the thought of the dream coming true, so I don't want to wait a moment." I explained the situation with my ex-boyfriend to the uncle. The uncle thought for a while and called 2 colleagues who were also big and strong to back him up. The uncle said, "I don't need to say much about the current situation. In the surrounding several kilometers, there aren't many homeowners willing to sell. Since you happen to meet them, just be sincere." 3 million yuan. My ex-boyfriend's mother got angry when she heard it. "How could you be so vicious? You even want to earn my pension money. Our son doesn't mind that you have a low education level and has been with you for 3 years. Is this how you repay us?" I rolled my eyes and said, "This is my house. Your son has been freeloading off me for 3 years. Your son has a high education level. I even paid for his graduate school tuition. Isn't that enough repayment? You're so stubborn." She was so angry that her face turned livid and she wanted to hit me. However, the 3 uncles in the agency were standing there like 3 big mountains, suppressing her shrill voice until it softened. The uncle snorted coldly and said, "Don't want to buy it? Then forget it. Go out and look for yourself. At this time, if others are willing to sell it for 3 million yuan, you can go and buy from them. Why are you pestering this girl?" My ex-boyfriend's mother immediately fell silent. It seemed that she had already asked around everywhere. After whining for a while, my ex-boyfriend still signed the contract. He looked embarrassed and asked me not to blame him. He said that he was a man and always had to build a family business. I was a woman, and there was no need to hold on to such a good house. I would get married anyway in the future. Aren't you going to mention marrying me anymore? I asked with an amused smile, as if he didn't even want to pretend anymore. He stammered for a few times and said, "My junior schoolmate is already pregnant with my child. I have to be responsible for her. I didn't find out about this in the dream." I was so shocked that I froze. Damn it, what a heartless and brainless idiot. I really opened my eyes wide, holding back my disgust. I finished all the procedures in a few days. Before leaving, he still came over and wanted to give me a goodbye hug. I managed to break away from him with the help of the uncle. Unbelievable. He liked my house. No problem, go and keep the zombies company in 3 years. I spent all my savings on buying the house. I'd like to see how he stocked up on supplies. 5. I went back to the real estate agency and gave the uncle double the commission he deserved. I had read a lot of survival guides these days and also bought many books on survival strategies. In that dream, only a rich young lady lived a comfortable life with her portable space. Other ordinary people, facing the zombies, might starve to death, die of illness, or might have stocked up everything but be targeted by others and besieged to death. So, I had to make absolutely sufficient preparations. Therefore, I also hoped that the uncle and his wife could have some defense measures before the zombie tide came. I deliberately used the reason that the uncle's child was naughty to persuade him to reinforce the doors and windows of his home. I pestered him to thicken the steel door and even paid for the reinforcement cost myself. Hearing the aunt say that with such a good door installed for the things in their home, she felt more at ease as a housewife. I bought some soil and seeds for the aunt and persuaded her to plant vegetables at home when she had nothing to do. I still used the child as an excuse, saying that the vegetables grown at home were healthier. I had also done my part in showing my affection. 6. After saying goodbye to the uncle and his wife, I went to resign. I had already told the personnel department about my resignation before, but they asked me to come today. Most likely, they wanted me to pay some liquidated damages or something. "Miss, this is your salary of 3,800 yuan for the 7 days you worked last month, and there is also a performance bonus of 83,000 yuan for this year. The year-end bonus will be transferred to your card after the settlement at the end of the year. Please keep your contact information unblocked." There was no liquidated damages, and I got an extra 86,800 yuan for no reason. I was stunned. The personnel staff said that it was my former boss who paid for it out of his own pocket. He said that since I had worked overtime with him for so many nights, he couldn't fail to give me this money. I wanted to thank my former boss, but I was told that he was laid off yesterday and was packing up his things now. My former boss was a science and engineering major, 3 years older than me. He was the strictest in squeezing our labor, but he never engaged in office politics or tried to cut corners. When we worked until 10 o'clock at night, he would definitely stay up until 5 o'clock in the morning. I did my internship in college under him, and he lent me 100,000 yuan when I bought the house. He was really reliable. I went to say hello to him, after that real and terrifying nightmare. When I saw him again, it felt like something from a previous life. He smiled freely and told me that he was going to start a business in another city and asked me if I would like to go with him. I was actually tempted. The 3 years of being a housewife in the dream almost drove me crazy. There was no one to help me, and I had no friends to chat with. Every day when I opened my eyes, I saw my mother-in-law, housework, and my husband. When I lay down, all I saw was the white ceiling, but I also had to make plans for the zombie apocalypse. When the apocalypse came, no matter how happy the days were, they couldn't stop the call of death. Actually, I had even thought about simply having a wild 3 years, eating, drinking, and having fun, and not caring about what would happen after 3 years. However, facing my former boss's invitation, I finally realized I wanted to survive. Not only did I want to survive, but I also wanted to live a wonderful life. Moreover, having a reliable companion in the apocalypse would be much easier than being alone. Finally, I accepted my former boss's invitation, and he seemed very happy. 7. That night, he took me to a high-end restaurant, where several of his childhood friends were sitting. it turned out that my former boss was a rich second generation. And his childhood friends, every one of them, were young masters in various industries and his future partners in starting a business. During the dinner, they talked about many projects, and some of them really shone brightly in the next 3 years. I was in a daze when I heard them say, "The port in West Wall City is good, we plan to go and inspect it tomorrow." I blurted out, "You can't go there, there will be an explosion there tonight." They were startled and looked at each other in surprise. "When, we didn't see it on the hot search," I recalled and said, "at 8:35, one of them said, "It's only 8:34 now, you must have made a mistake, right?" In the dream, I was watching the news and counting the time, waiting for my ex-boyfriend to come home for his birthday. I wouldn't forget a single second, seeing that I didn't say anything. They were just about to start drinking again when they heard my former boss say softly, "It's 8:35 now." Suddenly, everything went quiet. The port in West Wall City had a live broadcast all year round. Frightened by my solemn facial expression, they clicked on it one after another to watch. The intelligent loading and unloading at the unmanned port was in an orderly manner. They just breathed a sigh of relief and said, "You were wrong, it's probably the news from a few years ago." The next second, a fire burst out. A huge explosion cloud appeared. And the live broadcast screen went black the next second. The private room was silent, only the boiled sliced pork in the pot was bubbling. They sent my former boss to sound me out. I actually didn't want to expose my precognitive ability, but it was too conspicuous for a single woman carrying a large sum of money to go around purchasing things. No matter how careful I was, there was still a possibility of getting into trouble. In the face of disasters, people's hearts were unpredictable, however. On the other hand, my precognitive ability was my biggest bargaining chip, so I half-truthfully said that I would have some precognitive dreams. In some dreams, aliens invaded the Earth, which couldn't be more fake, but in some other dreams, multinational corporations would sign contracts to boost stock prices, foreign trains would derail, and a large amount of toxic chemical agents would be leaked. Within a few days, the prophecies in the dreams came true, this time. It was just that I happened to have a real precognitive dream a few days ago. Thanks to my good habit of watching the news every day during that 3-year-long nightmare, I managed to bluff them into being half-believing and half-doubting. Dreams were such mysterious things that it was hard to say for sure, especially rich people, who especially didn't dare to deny things related to feng shui. I managed to muddle through. But then they pulled me and asked me what industries I thought would be good in the future and if I had dreamed about them. 9. Here it came. The purpose of my coming here to have dinner was finally about to be achieved. I recalled a few projects they mentioned that could make money quickly in a short time. They were all shrewd people, and they could tell at once. Suddenly, they thought of many things, like war, local conflicts. I just smiled faintly and didn't say anything. After all, even if I told them about zombies, they would only think that I had dreamed of a script about aliens invading again. They knew that if they wanted to pry more details about my dreams from me, they had to pay. My former boss had always treated me well, and this time was no exception. He gave me 5% of the net profit from his interior decoration project. Seeing the frowns on the faces of the others, I knew it was a generous offer. I also didn't hesitate to tell them the content I saw in the dream, which made him lower his head and think deeply. The others were not familiar with me and didn't believe me for the time being. They planned to wait and see the situation of my former boss first, and I didn't have that much time to win their trust either. After the apocalypse, the order collapsed, and there were too many things I had to do. 10. After dinner, my former boss sent me home. I said that I didn't have a home anymore and had sold it for 3 million yuan. My former boss clearly knew how important that house was to me. I had paid off his loan, but I didn't even have time to invite him to my home before selling it. He sighed and said, "You're really willing to part with it?" I nodded and invited him to sit in the hotel where I was temporarily staying. He smiled gently and didn't mention going upstairs at all. Instead, he opened the door for me like a gentleman and just sat in the lobby of the hotel with me and chatted. He asked, "Can you tell me what your dream was like?" He was the companion I planned to win over, so of course he deserved my honesty. It was the zombie apocalypse. He was stunned. He asked, "Are you afraid?" I had planned to explain to him and prove something to him, but I didn't expect that his first sentence was to worry about whether I was afraid or not. I was calm and composed when I sold the house during the day, and I was careful and meticulous when I checked the survival guides at night. I thought I was very strong, but my breathing gradually became rapid, and I couldn't help it. I burst out crying. Of course I was afraid. In the whole lobby of the hotel, only my wailing could be heard, which made my former boss's hands shaking when he handed me tissues. He said that if I wanted, he would take me to meet a Taoist friend of his tomorrow. This friend of his was a Taoist priest with a very high seniority in a mountain and also had some precognitive abilities. I nodded and agreed. Unexpectedly, this trip actually brought me a great opportunity. 11. When the Taoist priest saw me, the first thing he said was, "Believer, have you ever foreseen the future?" I was shocked in my heart. What a divine person. Excited, I didn't hold my handbag firmly, and it fell to the ground. A small cloth bag fell out. "What's this?" The Taoist priest's face changed drastically. He bent down to pick it up, and golden light emerged from his hand, while the cloth bag also emitted red light, faintly resisting. "It's an evil thing that forcibly seizes other people's fortunes. It will harm you. How could you carry it with you?" I was stunned. That was the peace talisman that my ex-boyfriend climbed 5,000 steps up the mountain and asked for from the temple for me when we just started dating. So it was stealing my precognitive ability to protect his family's safety. The Taoist priest sighed and pinched it, and the talisman turned into a pile of debris on the ground. "Like this, although your precognitive ability is completely destroyed, it can ensure your safety in the future." Seeing that I calmed down, the Taoist priest smiled lazily and said, "Timothy, you brought this believer to see me just for this matter." My former boss, Timothy, shook his head and signaled for me to speak. I was convinced of the Taoist priest's supernatural powers and was also grateful in my heart. I didn't know that there was such an evil thing around me. If I hadn't come this time, I didn't know how much more of my fortune would have been borrowed away, and I didn't know how long the 3 million yuan could last. Naturally, I told him everything I knew. It was the first time that Timothy heard me tell the details so carefully. The description of the hellish zombie apocalypse shocked him. Immediately after that, he started making phone calls and checking his total assets, and said to me, "Don't be afraid, I'll protect you." I was willing to believe him. The Taoist priest carefully examined me again to make sure that there were no other evil spirits harming me, and then took me to meet several people. I lay on a machine that was said to be a lie detector and retold the dreams I had seen. The Taoist priest promised to classify my secret as a top secret. And I was also willing to do my best for the country, because I was raised by the country. When we finally parted, Timothy took me from the Taoist priest. The Taoist priest secretly handed me something. "What's this? Can't let you help for nothing. It's just a small portable space." The Taoist priest winked slyly. "Don't you girls like this kind of thing the most?" 12. I had fantasized about having a portable space countless times. No matter how much stuff you stock up, it's easy to lose, get damaged, or be snatched away. As a single woman, how much could she keep in such a chaotic world? But the portable space was different. It could store things, keep them fresh, and even fit a whole person inside. When bad guys came, just hide in the portable space. As long as you didn't get tired of the scenery inside, you could stay there forever. It was really a divine weapon in the apocalypse. In my previous life, that rich young lady, I heard that with only 300 cubic meters of portable space, she could live so comfortably. Her figure on TV was really enviable, and the portable space in my hand had 2 more zeros added, 30,000 cubic meters. What a concept! I could build 20 floors of a building with an area of 300 square meters each, an entire building. Moreover, the fresh keeping and freezing time was so good that when vegetables were put inside, they wouldn't even change their heat. I was so excited that I seemed to be injected with chicken blood and was so overjoyed that I didn't sleep for 2 days and 2 nights. Every day I went in and out of the space, in and out of the space. I did the blood recognition to bind the portable space firmly with my soul. Suddenly, I was filled with boundless ambition. Was I still afraid of the little apocalypse? I went to buy food, drinks, clothes, medicine, books, games, downloaded dramas, and bought power generation equipment. There were still more than 2 years of peaceful times left. I could stock up until the end of time. 13. One day when I woke up, I found that there was a progress bar added to my portable space. Progress of stocking up supplies for the apocalypse. Initial stage 0%. 0. 1%, 3 cubic meters. At the end of the progress bar, there was a small golden treasure chest. Behind the golden treasure chest, there was a countdown of 20, 0, 0, 0, 0. The next second, it became 19, 59, 59. Did this mean that I had to find enough supplies to fill 3 cubic meters within 20 hours? I called Timothy and quickly drove to the supermarket to buy things. The warehouse-style supermarket was in the suburbs. The goods there were of good quality but with high prices. Boxes of commodities were piled high on the shelves. Going there was like stocking up for business. I heard that one trip would cost several thousand yuan. I used to be reluctant to go, but today, as soon as I entered, it felt like I had returned to my happy place. I, a sweet tooth, snatched the last big plate of tiramisu for 99 yuan from a group of children. The fragrance of the American spicy chicken sandwich attracted me. In the box for 79, 8 yuan, the golden chicken fillet was covered with honey and butter sauce. It would be a pity to take it a second later. The guavaberry amber orchid fruit tea was low in sugar and 0 in fat. I couldn't stop drinking from the small sample cups, although the price of 89.9 yuan was high. It was my fault for not being able to resist carrying 2 big boxes. The roasted big chicken legs were plump and juicy. Through the box, I could feel the temptation of their Q-tip and tender texture. At 30 yuan per jean, I bought 3 jean first. Since that day, he really started to protect me. Even when encountering a little puppy on the road, he would shield me behind him. And now, Timothy was following me dutifully, pushing the cart, occasionally taking out a piece of paper to wipe the corners of my mouth that were greasy from eating. I was a bit nervous, my hand shook, and I accidentally pushed the sample cup onto his face. I grabbed the tissue and wiped myself. I was so nervous that I saw someone I hated. My ex-boyfriend was walking hand in hand with a girl in a white dress whom I didn't know. I wasn't sure, so I took another look. This look made me directly meet his eyes. He pointed at me to the girl in the white dress, and the girl looked me up and down with a disdainful look that made me very uncomfortable. Are you the one who rented my boyfriend's house and kept pestering him? The girl in the white dress supported her belly with one hand and spoke with contempt. Don't you even look at yourself in the mirror? It's just that my dear has a good temper and doesn't bother with you. I raised my eyebrows. So she wasn't the one who knew he had a girlfriend and still got involved with him. But her attitude was so bad that I wouldn't let her bully me either. What a high-end shopping mall. Why is there a dog barking? She was so angry that her face turned red. Who are you calling a dog? I smiled with amusement and said, whoever responds is the one I'm talking about. Whether the house was rented or sold, I can show you my property ownership certificate. But if your barking is too loud and you don't compensate me for my mental damage, I'll also keep pestering you. Her long fingernails dug deeply into my ex-boyfriend's arm, making him grimace in pain. Seeing her face turn livid with anger, I rolled my eyes and took out the photo of my property ownership certificate. Look carefully. You said I was greedy for his looks. Come on, I was just having fun. There are so many handsome guys in the world. Although the girl in the white dress was domineering, she wasn't the one who got involved with a taken man, so she could be considered innocent. I also hoped that she wouldn't follow in my footsteps. It was a pity that she didn't understand. You slut, I'm the one who truly loves him. My ex-boyfriend also chimed in at the right time. How ridiculous. You're a woman who spends money recklessly as soon as you have it. Which man would be willing to take you? She's 100 times better than you. His eyes were fixed on my shopping cart. The mountain-like pile of goods in the cart made his eyes widen. The girl in the white dress held his arm tightly and looked sweet, and even kissed him. I looked at them like an old man looking at his phone in disbelief, almost feeling sick. All right, they deserved each other. Coincidentally, Timothy just finished replying to a message on his phone and looked up to see that our reunion was over. He put one hand on my shoulder, pulled the cart with the other hand, and the Richard Mille RM72-01 watch on his cuff was revealed. How sweet, you've picked all my favorite things. Timothy had a smile on his lips. The 1.8 million yuan custom-made large gun lapel gray plaid suit made my ex-boyfriend feel inferior. I endured the tingling sensation on my shoulder and forced a smile as I turned around and walked away. The next second, I pinched Timothy's forearm hard. Timothy, who wants to be sweet with you? Timothy calmly took out his wallet to pay the bill and said, whoever responds is the one I'm talking about. 14. When I got home, I eagerly put the goods into my portable space. The golden treasure chest at the end of the progress bar slowly enlarged, and then the whole vision was filled with brilliant golden fireworks. The initial stage has been completed. Please choose one of the following options. A. Attack ability. B. Protective shield. Great, I wanted both. Although it said that offense is the best defense, I firmly believe that I only have one life. After thinking for a long time, I chose the protective shield. The protective shield has been bound. Please set it up. A. Keep it on 24/7 to defend against all kinds of damage. B. Turn it on as you like to defend against specified damages. I firmly rejected option A. This kind of treasure that could take care of me 24 hours a day was really rare. The last time I encountered something like this was the sanitary napkin. After turning on the protective shield, I tried to hit my own hand. It didn't hurt. I gritted my teeth and kicked the wall hard. It really didn't hurt. I clenched my fist with satisfaction. But then I found that the garlic shrimp chips from Calbee started to shrink, and one pack gradually disappeared. Oh no, I kicked the wall again, and another pack of shrimp chips disappeared. Could it be that the protective shield consumed the supplies I stocked up when it resisted damage? I was almost getting a phobia of insufficient stocking. When I looked at the progress bar again, I found that it had been refreshed. Progress of stocking up supplies for the apocalypse. Primary stage 0, 1%, 0, 1%, 30 cubic meters. At the end of the progress bar, there was a small diamond treasure chest. Behind the diamond treasure chest, there was a countdown of 24, 00, 00, 23, 59, 59, 23, 59, 58. This meant that I had to obtain 30 cubic meters of supplies within a day. Timothy watched me hitting myself with an amused smile and slowly took off his suit and hung it in the closet. Move in with me for now. It will be inconvenient for you to stay in a hotel when you buy more things in the future. Now that I had the ability to protect myself, I didn't reject the idea of moving into his house anymore. So I tilted my head and said, "Then should I pay you rent?" Timothy laughed and said, "My room for a nice young man like me isn't cheap." I also showed a mysterious smile and showed him the panel of my portable space. Reward for completing the initial stage within 5 hours, 1 protective shield asterisk, which can be given to others. The consumption of the protective shield will be borne by this portable space. Timothy could also have a protective shield. He stared at me in surprise with his eyes wide open and picked me up and spun me around. "Baby, you're so great. Who's your baby?" 15. At this time, Timothy's phone automatically connected to a video call. A young master was tying his tie. The gold-rimmed frameless glasses made me feel a bit familiar. The young master said as soon as he opened his mouth, "Timothy, the target you asked me to keep an eye on is about to open for bidding. I'll go and keep an eye on it. Can we really make money like this? I've even cut off the money I planned to buy a Maserati." The young master straightened his tie and then looked at his phone. "Oh, is this the sister-in-law you mentioned who worked overtime with you before?" Timothy angrily hung up the phone. Even after turning off the screen, we could still hear the young master chattering. "Didn't you say that your secret love ended in failure? Why is there a new development now?" Question: What should I do if my former boss who used to squeeze employees and make them work overtime actually had a secret crush on me? "I'm waiting online, it's urgent." The young master was still talking. "Why did you turn off the screen? Sister-in-law hasn't been introduced yet. I'm Thomas from AA Pharmaceutical Group." "Sister-in-law, come out for dinner when you're free." Thomas, the name sounded even more familiar. While I was thinking, Timothy snapped and hung up the phone. The sound disappeared, and it suddenly became quiet. Timothy turned his head, and his ears were bright red. Don't listen to his nonsense." I blinked my eyes, not knowing where to put my hands. His ears were red. It wasn't until I walked into the kitchen and started roasting big chicken legs that he recovered and helped me cook together. "So, you need to stock up 30 cubic meters of supplies in a day." I nodded and sighed. "There are too many things to buy. It's too late to just go to the supermarket. We have to empty several warehouses." Timothy said, "I'll ask someone for help. That brat Thomas is leaving City A, otherwise. His family's warehouse is quite close to us." Thomas, AA Pharmaceutical Group, City A. I remembered, in my previous life, the headline on the hot search was that Thomas from AA Pharmaceutical Group in City A died. The time was today. I was shocked and threw the plate away and rushed to rummage through the notebook where I recorded the future. There were still 30 minutes left. Call Thomas. I was so nervous that I couldn't speak, and my fingertips were trembling. Timothy, who followed me, immediately dialed the number without hesitation. What's going on? Don't be nervous, I'm here. I took a deep breath and sorted out my thoughts. In the precognitive time I had, Thomas will die in a car explosion today. Coincidentally, Thomas answered the phone. Hi, I'm about to get on the elevated road. Timothy, do you have any new instructions? Timothy leaned on the table and said, Thomas, pull over and get out of the car immediately. Stay away from the car. Thomas was stunned for a second, and then he turned the steering wheel sharply and drove the car into a deserted piece of land. He took the phone, got out of the car without a second's delay, and used the phone to shine on the car and then on himself before asking in confusion, Timothy. Timothy swallowed hard and used another phone to dial the number of his subordinates. Bring someone who knows about cars to check Thomas's car. Thomas understood immediately when he heard it. He frowned and looked at his car, while waving his hand vigorously to signal the innocent passers-by to stay away from the car. 16. 3 people checked the car and found that it had indeed been tampered with. Once Thomas got on the highway and the speed reached the set value, the car would lose control and explode. Thomas looked at the parts that shouldn't be in the car and seemed to think of something. His noble and elegant facial features changed from shock to anger, and finally froze into a distorted murderous look. It scared me. All right, Thomas, remember, don't tell others about your sister-in-law's ability. Thomas immediately came to his senses and nodded at me expressionlessly. I'm Thomas, and I'll repay kindness with kindness. Sister-in-law, I'm your dog. My ears must be playing tricks on me. Thomas shook his head. No, you're my master. I thought, is this young master playing so wildly in private? Thomas was so anxious that he started waving his hands. Timothy's face darkened. Stop talking, go and return your mouth wherever you rented it from. After saying that, he hung up the phone. I couldn't help laughing until my stomach hurt. Timothy was so angry that his cheeks puffed up. Are you ignoring me on purpose? I was still laughing when suddenly I remembered something. Hey, didn't you say that Thomas has a warehouse near us? In front of Timothy, I dialed the phone again. Thomas, I happen to need your help with something. Thomas blushed when he saw me. Well, sister-in-law, just tell me. I urgently need 30 cubic meters of goods. Coincidentally, Timothy mentioned you, so I thought I'd come and ask you. Thomas patted himself and said, what a coincidence, I just stocked up new goods. And the variety is complete. Sister-in-law, what kind of goods do you want? I bit my lip and said, I want 30 cubic meters of them. Thomas tilted his head. 17. After meeting, I explained the situation clearly, and then Thomas suddenly realized, so 30 cubic meters is meant literally. This unit of measurement is the first time I've seen it. I smiled and nodded. Thomas directly handed me the warehouse inventory list. Come to my place, sister-in-law. You can take whatever you want for free. William, turn off all the monitors. I'll accompany sister-in-law to have a look. Let the people in the meeting room wait for a while. William looked a bit troubled. Boss, this warehouse is for the group to participate in the trade fair. The variety is the most complete. It won't be easy to explain if something goes wrong. Thomas raised his hand to stop him. I'll take full responsibility. I'll bear the losses. I'll contact about the trade fair. Is that okay? William said okay and quickly went to turn off the monitors. I then started putting things into my portable space. Thomas leaned against the shelves, his peach blossom eyes shining with a glint. Sister-in-law, you're so defenseless. What if you trust the wrong person? I stopped what I was doing and turned to stare at him. Thomas straightened his back. My gaze slid across his high nose bridge. Yeah. I gave an affirmative reply and then continued loading the goods. The medicines in the warehouse were of all kinds. I directly put the shelves along with their label classifications into the space. What does, mean? His voice sounded a bit aggrieved. Even if I trust the wrong person, with over 1 billion yuan worth of medicines, I won't lose out. Thomas was left speechless. Am I not even worth as much as these medicines? Yeah, you have a face like a peach blossom and are quite good looking. I hereby appoint you as the medicine concubine and assign you to live in the Peach Blossom Palace. Remember to call me in the future and come for more freebies. Thomas snapped his fingers. No problem. the anti-inflammatory drugs, disinfectants, iodine, bandages for treating external injuries were in another warehouse, piled up to the ceiling in boxes. I called Thomas to accompany me and moved another 5 tons. On the way out of the warehouse, his deep voice suddenly rang out. If you had met me first, who would you choose between me and Timothy? I looked at him in confusion. What, are you playing the love at first sight card with me? 18. After exceeding the stalking task of the portable space, I was in a great mood. I sat on the sofa in Thomas's private office and took out the snacks he had hidden to eat. Someone pushed the door open. Is the meeting over? Have you decided where to have dinner? The sound of high heels clicking came. I looked up and saw the girl in the white dress with an angry look on her face, walking towards me aggressively. Who allowed you to enter Thomas's room? You. Then she recognized me. I was also curious. Why did she show up everywhere? I leaned back, and the lazy sofa provided excellent support for my waist. I felt like I had already become a lazybones, waiting for someone. Come and lie down together. The girl in the white dress subconsciously refused. Thomas doesn't allow me to touch the things in his room. I shrugged. All right then. The girl in the white dress stared at me in disbelief as I ate the snacks, and then she burst out. He doesn't allow anyone to touch these. Where did you get them from? I stuffed a crispy shark into my mouth. Well, from his desk. Want a bite? The girl in the white dress looked at me as if I were an idiot. She ignored me and stood obediently at the wide-open door. I felt a bit cold. So I casually grabbed a blanket and put it over me. The girl in the white dress's eyebrows twitched, and she hugged herself tightly. I was really curious. What was going on? Why was this girl, who always thought highly of herself, so scared? After a while, the person in question came. Thomas arranged some work at the elevator entrance and then walked over alone. Thomas, the girl in the white dress took the initiative to speak. Thomas glanced at her, handed her a document, then turned around and came into the room to look for me. I've reserved a private restaurant. Let's go out and have a simple meal. I'll accompany you, Your Majesty. I was stunned. In front of others, I started to feel extremely embarrassed. Thomas saw me lying on the lazy sofa covered with a blanket and looking like a flattened pancake, and he was also stunned. Or just lie down for a while longer. I refused this tempting offer. The girl in the white dress couldn't believe it and left. Looking back several times, I blinked my eyes and asked, did you bully her? She's such a haughty girl, but you scared her so much. Thomas's face was reflected on the elevator door, divided into 2 halves, and he was silent for a while. It wasn't until we were halfway through the meal that he said, that's my mother's former office room. She left it to me later. I'm possessive and never let others in. I nodded. Your mother's lazy sofa is amazing. There's nothing like it in the world. Thomas smiled. So she's gone to heaven. I raised my cup and clinked it with his, then tilted my head back and drank up the taro milk. He also took a sip of wine, and that was it. The topic passed. 19. When I got home, Timothy was typing on the keyboard and said that professionals were taking care of Thomas's matter, so I didn't need to worry about it anymore. I looked at him and sat down beside him, propping my face with my hand, and asked, what's going on with him? Does he like playing the love at first sight game? Timothy looked at me carefully, furrowed his brows and said, that brat, no, he likes being rescued by a hero. Haha. Timothy was clearly jealous. I was already home, yet he was still pretending to type on the keyboard. Timothy said, his mother was seriously injured while saving him and lingered for 2 years before passing away. After that, his personality became like this. What did that blabbermouth say to you? I was happy to smell the sour smell of jealousy in the air. He asked me that if I had met him first, who would I choose between him and you? Under Timothy's gaze like a puppy watching closely, I said, I might be touched by your spirit of working overtime and then be poached by you with a high salary. This was the victory of the overnight working and money spending party. Timothy was satisfied. Stop joking. Hurry up and see the changes in the portable space. The primary stage has been completed, the diamond treasure chest has been opened, and the protective shield has been upgraded. I clicked on it, and there was another dazzling special effect. After the upgrade, the protective shield can absorb a large amount of damage and convert it into energy. It can be used to attack zombies when advancing and can also charge mobile phones when retreating. Congratulations, host. I was overjoyed. I didn't need to worry about the biggest energy problem after the apocalypse, and I also had an attack method. This upgrade was really worth it. At this time, the progress bar was refreshed, progress of stocking up supplies for the apocalypse, intermediate stage 0, 1% to 1%, 300 cubic meters. At the end of the progress bar, there was a small emerald treasure chest. Behind the emerald treasure chest, there was a countdown of 240, 00, 00, 239, 59, 59, 239, 59, 58. This meant that I had to spend 10 days to fill up 300 cubic meters of supplies. I was deeply worried about money when Timothy, dressed in a neat suit and waistcoat, laughed with his chest vibrating, and beckoned to me, "Come and tie my tie for me, and I'll help you think of a way." I had a blank expression and grabbed the tie to strangle him. So smug. 20. The next morning, someone knocked on the door. Timothy opened the door for the person and then turned to me and said, "I've contacted the daily necessities factories in the east of the city. Victor will take you to check the goods. If you like them, just place the order directly. The goods will be transported to my warehouse. The monitors have all been turned off. Here's the key." The boss's money power showed up. Victor handed me the roster of daily necessities factories in a very professional manner. Food, drinks, and daily necessities were all available. I gave the black card a kiss and set off under Timothy's passionate gaze. A large area of factories was right in front of me. I casually picked up a paper bag on the roadside and threw it into the trash can. Then I walked forward. An old woman sitting at the intersection cracking melon seeds stretched out her foot to stop me. "Listen to Grandma. You're still young. Go back to school and don't run around in the factories to date men all day. What's so good about men's sweet talk? Grandma can also say nice things to you." I was stunned for a moment, as if I was an old cucumber painted green, feeling shy while touching my smooth face. Then I thought of the years I had wasted on my ex-boyfriend, and I felt like I was being taught a lesson. "Grandma, you've misunderstood. I'm here." The old woman spat out 2 melon seed shells. "When I was your age, I also liked good-looking men, but good looks can't fill your stomach. Stop scolding me. Even if you praise me for being young, I'll cry." The old woman started talking about her daughter. "Don't believe it. Let me give you an example. My daughter finally graduated from high school. She found a man who worked in a car repair shop. At first, I didn't think highly of him, but my daughter was well educated and had more insight than me. That man was kind-hearted and willing to work hard. Many rich people were willing to go to him to repair their cars. Later, when the housing prices went up, he went to sell houses and bought a big gold necklace for me, an old woman, and changed my daughter to a house with an elevator. Look, when you choose a man, you should choose someone like that." I kept nodding, but the more I listened, the more familiar it sounded. Wait, wasn't this so similar to my real estate agent uncle's story? My uncle had a scar on his forehead, in his early years, when he was repairing cars for a big client. An important car part almost fell. He endured the screws and iron bars falling from above and caught the car part, disfiguring himself. Later, when the big client accidentally learned about this, he immediately took all his friends at the wine table to my uncle's car repair shop. That's how my uncle saved up the money for his wife. I felt that this old woman was really fated to meet me, so I didn't rush to clarify. Instead, I maintained the image of a pure high school girl and sat with her cracking melon seeds. The old woman continued, "The most handsome guy in this factory. I've also seen him. His eyes are really charming, but think about it, when he gets old, his eyelids droop, his teeth fall out, and he can't say those sweet words anymore. Do you still want to waste your life on him?" I took a deep breath and deeply agreed. The old woman saw that I was teachable and showed a satisfied smile with her big gums showing. "Besides, that guy goes out to play video games with 3 or 4 girls every week. I really don't like the look of him." The old woman held my hand and then quickly let it go, saying carefully, "I like you. When I see you, it's like seeing my daughter when she was young." My eyes became a bit sour. People who had seen me when I was young, I missed them too. 21. Until Victor parked the car and handed me the product list. I still didn't want to drop the persona of a pure high school girl. So I said to Victor, "Victor, aren't you here to buy things? This grandma's factory is pretty good. Take me to have a look." Looking at Victor with an elite working look, the old woman was stunned for a moment. Then she looked him up and down. put away the melon seeds, smoothed her temples, and skillfully started recommending the products of their factory. The factory director was also an interesting person. He directly led Victor into the workshop, patted the large piles of raw materials neatly stacked there, pulled off a tuft and burned it, and even brought it close to Victor's nose. "Boss, you can check it casually, the materials are all solid. If it's said to be pure cotton, it's pure cotton. If it's said to be goose down, it's goose down. Although the goose poop hasn't been cleaned up yet, the disinfection process is done well, and it's definitely warm. If I hadn't been there." It seemed that the factory director would have had the idea of taking off his clothes and putting on the goose-down jacket directly. Victor nodded reservedly and then received a phone call. Probably the next factory had been waiting for a long time and was in a hurry. He signed the contract and paid the deposit. The old woman pulled me aside and whispered, "Your brother looks like he'll be very successful in the future. Unlike that Timothy's group. They regard bad goods as good ones and are going to buy a large amount. TSK. Victor's back stiffened. "What's going on?" I quickly moved closer, signaling the old woman to quickly spill the beans. "There's a woman in the East. She's the director of the Star Factory and has always been at odds with me. She always tries to steal my business. This time, Timothy's group is going to make a purchase, and she sent someone to inquire about it. It's a big client. So she asked her younger cousin on her mother's side to send cigarettes to the purchaser. That's how her factory got on the purchase list. Originally, I couldn't say anything, but this woman kept pouring dirty water on our factory, not wanting our factory to get the order. She didn't even let me meet the purchaser. What a mean trick." I was so angry that I went to the old ladies who danced square dance with her. Only then did I learn that the purchaser had been wined and dined by her until he was dizzy and boasted that he would only let her factory do the business of quilt covers and fabrics. I quietly flipped through the list booklet and indeed saw only Star Factory on it. There was also an introduction written behind it, "Quality guaranteed, trustworthy." However, the quoted price was 50% higher than that of the old woman's factory. Victor wasn't that purchaser. But he also started to feel restless. Coincidentally, at this time, people from Star Factory arrived. They ran all the way and were about to hold Victor's hand. The old woman spat. "Bah, this shameless woman, how dare she come?" I looked up and saw that it was really a coincidence. My ex-boyfriend's mother, with makeup on, was standing behind the director of Star Factory, when I went to my ex-boyfriend's home with him before. The way she looked at me with a fake smile and contemptuous eyes was both majestic and made me feel uneasy. Now that she was being obsequious, it just made her look ugly. Victor walked towards me, and the focus of the whole room shifted to me. My ex-boyfriend's mother narrowed her eyes, then suddenly widened them in surprise, lowered her head and shrank back, but found that I was staring at her, so she could only force a smile. I ignored her and just took the samples from Factory and went to Star Factory to compare them one by one. Walking through the tiled lobby and entering a dark warehouse, there were at least 3 servings of malatang and 5 boxes of fried chicken on the piles of raw materials everywhere. Victor knew more about this. He pinched, rubbed, and tasted a bit, and he could tell how much the cost was and how much water was in it. After looking around, Victor's face darkened. The sales manager of Star Factory couldn't explain why the fabric labeled as high-count cotton had a stinky and fishy smell after being bleached, and he was so anxious that he was sweating all over. He took out the bill to prove himself, saying that the money for the first batch of raw material purchases had indeed been spent. My ex-boyfriend's mother's face became even paler, and she backed away. Her arm was trembling, and she was grabbed by the sales manager. "This is more than 1 million yuan worth of goods. Where did you buy them from? Tell me, tell me." She was shaking so much that she could hardly speak. "From my younger cousin on my mother's side. I really didn't know it would be like this." The originally planned business worth 8 million yuan was ruined. My ex-boyfriend's mother slumped to the ground, clutching her newly bought mobile phone tightly. Victor and I left without disturbing anyone. The whole factory's people were called by the boss to be reprimanded, until we bought out all the factories in the nearby area and signed contracts worth tens of millions of yuan. The factory bosses saw us off all the way. From the outside, Star Factory was still quiet. 22. As soon as I got home, Victor went straight into Timothy's room and closed the door. The 2 men started whispering. I didn't know how long that purchaser could still enjoy the cigarettes from Star Factory. After this calculation, We could get more than 400 cubic meters of goods within 7 days. I happily took a shower and went shopping in the mall. The money for buying goods was paid by Timothy. I didn't stand on ceremony with him. He also gave me the black card for daily expenses. Of course, I had to go on a shopping spree before the apocalypse came. I added so many Instagram accounts of the sales clerks that I got messages like this every morning. Sister, we just got a limited edition. Come and have a try when you're free, and every night before going to bed. Sister, you can get it if you spend 3 million yuan on matching purchases. Look at this style. I was busy and would check them out one by one when I had time. After enjoying a couple of days of a luxurious life, I bumped into the girl in the white dress when passing by a gold store. She was pulling my ex-boyfriend's hand and arguing with the clerk, trying to return the wedding jewelry. The clerk's face was long, and my ex-boyfriend was arguing with a hoarse voice. The girl in the white dress was pinching the corner of her dress. Feeling extremely embarrassed, she was the only daughter of a wealthy family that had already achieved financial freedom. Why on earth did she fall for my ex-boyfriend? I quietly walked around them and went to pick up my car at the 4S store, a Ferrari LaFerrari, the coolest black warrior. When the butterfly doors opened, I felt like I didn't care about anyone. I stepped on the accelerator and drove to store to buy a 4 yuan cup of happy water. When I came out with it, there were already 7 or 8 long-legged beauties queuing up to take pictures with the car. I liked watching this, so I found a window seat, ordered milk tea for my bodyguards, and sipped my drink while watching. Even in the most expensive shopping mall in City A where luxury cars gathered, the all-black Ferrari LaFerrari was still the most eye-catching one. Its unruly body seemed to be waiting for a woman to tame it. This red-lipped, big wave-haired beauty was really photogenic. And that leather-skirted, stiletto-heeled one was even hotter. Women rushed forward one after another, so the black warrior was defiled by bright red lips, caressed by tender fingers, and finally humiliatedly frozen in one photo after another. I swung my car keys and watched with great interest, but there was always someone to spoil the fun. A tattooed and gold-wearing man grabbed the beauty in front of the car and came over with bad intentions. He tried to extort the little internet celebrity by claiming that she had scratched the car body, using filthy language and even getting physical. The pregnant girl in the white dress somehow also gathered here. She was pushed by the man and staggered back. Oh my God, she was pregnant. The girl in the white dress steadied herself by touching her slightly bulging belly, when she was still in shock. She found that my ex-boyfriend was leering at the little internet celebrity and was grabbed by the man by the collar. The girl in the white dress was instantly petrified. I exchanged a glance with my bodyguards. The bodyguard who looked the fiercest stepped forward and patted the man on the shoulder. Buddy, don't block the way. With the strength of a professional, he couldn't bear it. The man shuddered from the pat and loosened his grip. Who are you people? I asked the girl in the white dress. Do you like this car? The girl in the white dress was in a sorry state. I continued, the daughter of the general manager of AA Pharmaceutical Group. Just act coquettishly, and this 500 million yuan Ferrari LaFerrari can be your birthday gift. The girl in the white dress was extremely embarrassed and wiped away her tears. My father hates me for not listening to him and doesn't recognize me anymore. Are you here to laugh at me too? I sighed. I tossed my car keys and, under everyone's gaze, pressed the button to open the butterfly door of the sports car. Oh, this, the man was shocked and scared of the bodyguards. He quickly apologized and ran away in a panic. A beautiful lady in high heels was almost knocked down by the man. The bodyguard had a steady hand and helped her up. The bodyguard was wearing sunglasses, his mouth tightly pursed. His gentlemanly hand only touched the lady's shoulder briefly before withdrawing immediately. Instead, the beautiful lady blushed. I was amused. My ex-boyfriend, who was still protecting the little internet celebrity, hadn't put his hand down yet and was extremely embarrassed. You money-worshipping woman, you hired a few people, rented a car, and came here to show off. I waved my hand, and 4 bodyguards surrounded him. Shut your dog mouth, spinning my car keys. I smilingly at the queue of internet celebrity beauties taking pictures. I'm honored that you like it. The beauties cheered and pulled me to take several photos together. The girl in the white dress couldn't resist my invitation either and joined the photo-taking group. Do you like it? I asked, looking at the girl in the white dress's smiling face as I held her hand and put it on the steering wheel. Yes, she stopped being sarcastic and blushed slightly. I dangled the car keys in front of her eyes. Happy birthday. It's yours. She covered her mouth in surprise and stared at me in disbelief. The internet celebrity beauties around were also shocked and stopped playing around, all looking over. Looking at her on the verge of crying again. I sighed. I couldn't tell her that her father had asked Thomas to ask me to persuade her properly. I cleared my throat and began to recite the girl in the white dresses childhood diary. Once upon a time, there was a princess. The queen asked her whether she wanted to marry a prince or a knight in the future. The girl in the white dress bit her lower lip. The princess said, "I want the knight, because the handsome prince would love many people, while the loyal knight only loved the princess. Here, your knight." I handed the car keys a little further forward. 23. The goods from the daily necessities factories arrived one after another. I put down my Hermes Birkin bag, rolled up my sleeves, and started to stack the goods into my portable space bit by bit. Timothy also came to help me. The small warehouse was a bit crowded with the two of us in it. The TF tobacco oud scent from his cuff wafted to my neck, and the intoxicating aroma of whiskey slowly invaded, warm and deep. My ears were burning hot, while his metal cufflinks were ice cold. "Boss, how's the progress of the first edition of the Zombie Apocalypse Survival Guide that you mentioned last time?" Timothy swallowed and stared at me without blinking. "Thanks to your detailed editions. I heard it will be released in 3 months." I was stunned. 3 months, so soon? Timothy smiled gently. "Your early warning will save a lot of people." His palm was warm, making my face feel a bit tingly as he rubbed against it. "You're the most special girl in my life." I grasped his hand tightly and said with deep emotion, "The most special girl asks you to hurry up and move the goods. After stocking up this batch, I need to go out and spend money quickly." 3 months won't wait for anyone. Timothy held my hand, but his face looked as if he had been pinched by a crab's claw all night. Finally, it was time to open the treasure chest again. The intermediate stage has been completed, the emerald treasure chest has been opened, and the market module has been unlocked. I clicked on it, and there was another dazzling special effect. In the market, you can trade with other apocalyptic worlds, and a 5% handling fee will be charged for trading. Just after reading this, a dialog box popped up quickly. Request for assistance. Request for assistance. Interstellar Extreme Cold Apocalypse A83 Portable Space is purchasing a large number of warm supplies in large quantities and is willing to exchange them for high-energy weapons. Oh my God, high-energy weapons that far exceeded the current technological level on Earth. I immediately packaged the down jackets, down quilts, socks, and sweaters that I had just bought from Factory and clicked to trade. The next second, the high-energy weapons arrived in my account. I was stunned by this unexpected gain. This request for assistance message was quickly withdrawn. It should be that the purchase of supplies had ended. Randomly, high-priced and urgent orders like the one just now would appear in the market, but there were more daily trading orders. For example, someone was seeking 5 cubic meters of food and was willing to exchange it for 10 bottles of beauty potions. At the top of the portable space, the progress bar had been refreshed. Progress of stocking up supplies for the apocalypse. Advanced stage 1% to 10%. 3,000 cubic meters. At the end of the progress bar, there was a small crown treasure chest. Behind the crown treasure chest, there was a countdown of 2, 400, 00, 2, 399, 59, 59, 2, 399, 59, 58. This meant that I had to spend 100 days to fill up 3,000 cubic meters of supplies. Timothy was sweating all over from exhaustion. He supported himself against the wall and went into the bathroom to take a shower. Through the door, he heard my cheerful voice and didn't say anything for a long time. I was worried that he might faint, so I gently pushed open the frosted glass door. Without paying attention, I slipped and slid forward, passing through the thick steam and bumping into his arms. His hands were steady, and his gaze was deep. Timothy was sitting on the edge of the bathtub, with only 2 towels on his body. One was wrapped around his waist, and the other was on his head. The steam was rising, and the water was dripping. A drop of water slid down his nose. I trembled, as if it had dropped into my heart. "What are you doing in here?" My small voice echoed in the bathroom. "I wanted to tell you some good news." Timothy pinched my chin and lifted it up. "You tell me everything. You don't have any sense of self-protection at all." I felt a bit aggrieved. I consider you as a friend. His wet broken hair stuck to my forehead, and his breath was so close. Just a friend. Alright, Daddy, 24. The next day, Timothy said goodbye to me. He had the protective shield I gave him, and there were many things that only he could do. Before leaving, he said, a large number of 10 cubic meter portable spaces are being developed and are expected to be put into use in 3 months. You, hurry up and stock up. I nodded. He added, I'm afraid we won't meet again until the zombie apocalypse. I nodded again. He tidied my hair for me. His half-fingered leather gloves hovered by my neck. I took the initiative to lean over and touch them gently. Time to go. He was very restrained and separated immediately after the brief contact, when I was alone. I liked to browse the market. I thought about getting 2 bottles of anti-hair loss potions as a reunion gift for Timothy. I also liked chatting with Thomas, talking about how to spend money and Timothy's embarrassing stories when he was young. Thomas said that the girl in the white dress finally became tough once. She gave up the betrothal gifts and the wedding jewelry and used them to fill the hole dug by my ex-boyfriend's mother. The child in her belly would take her mother's surname. My ex-boyfriend was cooking nutritious meals and massaging her every day. Seeing that his daughter had become tough, the girl in the white dress's father was very grateful to me. When he heard that I was making large purchases, he immediately patted his chest and promised to help me find channels. It turned out that the girl in the white dress's maternal family was in the business of auctioning port containers. The so-called container auction was to auction the large containers that were left unclaimed at the port. Every once in a while, they would be auctioned off in a unified manner. The capacity of a container was more than 60 cubic meters. No matter how much the value of the goods inside was, the starting price was only 10 or 20,000 yuan. It was very suitable for me to stock up in large quantities and with various categories. Timothy looked at the price of the container auction with his black card and said nonchalantly, "Take me with you, I'll help you buy them all." He was just as bold as his usual self. 25. Thomas told me that usually hundreds of containers were auctioned together in the container auction, with a starting price of millions of yuan. Almost all the people sitting in the auction hall were the managers of major financial groups, without the habit of spending a lot of money casually. It would be difficult to have the psychological quality to raise the placard and bid in the auction hall. Spending money was also a kind of ability, so, the first thing I did when I arrived at the port was to warm up my black card. I first bought a Bugatti Chiron, an angel that fell from the sky with extreme speed. Then I took a picture and posted it on my Instagram moments. The girl in the white dress liked it and commented, "The car is so cool, and you're so beautiful." My ex-boyfriend commented, "Baby, stop looking at your phone, you haven't done the laundry yet." He really thought that all women in the world should serve him. I continued stocking up. Coincidentally, there was an order in the market, seeking high-quality gems at a high price and willing to exchange them for healing potions, body-strengthening potions, and purification potions. It sounded like they were good helpers for killing zombies. I walked into the VIP room of a top jewelry store, flipped through the jewelry display album made of top-layer calfskin, and said, "I want this whole album." The whole place went quiet. The regional sales director was shocked by my words and rushed back from his vacation. He put on leather gloves, held the most expensive set of jewelry in the store, and explained its history to me, the past of being displaced and wandering, and the memories of passing between nobles and royal families. In his emotional narration, everyone in the room was heartbroken for the fate of this set of jewelry. With tears in my eyes, I handed over my card. "Wrap it up, I'll pay by card. Will the next piece have a happy story?" The sales director smiled gently and held up the second piece, telling a story of war, betrayal, and love behind the jewelry. Brothers killed each other for the throne, and women went crazy for love. It was so sad. I cried and swiped my card, after spending billions of yuan. My hand was tired from swiping the card, and the sales director's feet were weak from receiving the money. He almost asked me in a trembling voice if he could add me on WeChat. I accepted his friend request. "For the next 1 or 2 months, I'll take as much top-quality jewelry as you have." He looked at me as if Xiao Lu was looking at his beloved seventh uncle. 26. After spending over 1 billion yuan, I was completely calm when I went to the container auction. In the auction brochure, there were hundreds or even thousands of containers at the port. Bidding up to hundreds of millions of yuan happened from time to time. In other boxes, there were the sounds of calculators clicking away, and phone calls for asking for instructions were coming one after another, but for me, I only needed to consider whether my portable space was big enough and if there were suitable orders for trading in the market. This batch of containers contains a full set of European top-brand smart home appliances. The starting price is 500,000 yuan. Private buyers raised their placards one after another. I won it with 6 million yuan. The wave pool, electric massage bed, sauna room, and home KTV theater in the container attracted me. I won it with 10 million yuan. This batch of containers contains the library collections of an international library. The starting price is 26 million yuan. I won it with 5 million yuan. This batch of containers contains 10,000 pieces of maple goose down jackets. The starting price is 8 million yuan. There were always apocalyptic worlds with extreme cold in the market, seeking down jackets, and the prices they offered were very tempting. I won it with 25 million yuan. This batch of containers contains the latest AR plus VR game equipment. The starting price is 9 million yuan. The latest large AR plus VR equipment that included hundreds of games. I won it with 30 million yuan. So satisfying. This batch of containers contains 10,000 tons of oil. The starting price is 30 million yuan. Although I didn't need to worry about energy anymore, oil and other fossil fuels were absolute hard currency in the apocalypse, even more valuable than gold. It was a rare opportunity to buy in large quantities, so I directly raised the price, 40 million yuan. This was the market price, and no one else bid. This batch of containers contains 10,000 tons of agricultural products. The starting price is 800 million yuan. 800 million yuan, my God. Companies with insufficient funds directly withdrew, and only a few large companies were competing. They were busy calculating with their calculators, figuring out the market prices of the goods. There were carefully selected grains, black pigs running in the mountains, Angus cattle, Inner Mongolian mutton, as well as various spices like cumin, and even 3,000 caddies of perishable fruits and vegetables. The big companies all frowned, after calculating back and forth. They thought it wasn't a cost-effective price, only I was excited and raised my placard, 801 million yuan, worried that someone would compete with me. I even added 1 million yuan. My God, how could there be such a good thing? In the zombie apocalypse, the most important thing was always food, and still food. With these, wouldn't I be able to eat to my heart's content? I was only worried about one problem now. What if the 30,000 cubic meters of my portable space wasn't enough to hold them? In the end, I managed to win the bid for the container with agricultural products. As the auctioneer's hammer fell with a thud, I couldn't help but feel a sense of excitement and satisfaction. I quickly got in touch with the relevant personnel to arrange for the transfer of these containers into my portable space. Watching the containers gradually disappear one by one and be safely stored in my private warehouse within the portable space, I felt like I was building an impregnable fortress for the upcoming apocalypse. After the container auction, I didn't stop there. I continued to scour various places for useful supplies. I went to the industrial area and bought a large number of tools like generators, welding machines, and all kinds of mechanical parts that might come in handy during the post-apocalyptic rebuilding process. I also visited some medical equipment factories and stocked up on advanced medical devices, from simple first aid kits to complex surgical instruments, as well as a huge amount of various medicines. After all, in that chaotic apocalyptic world, injuries and diseases would be inevitable. During this time, I often received messages from the market in my portable space. There were requests for all kinds of items. Some were from worlds facing a water shortage asking for large water purification systems, and some were from places dealing with mutant beasts seeking powerful weapons. I would carefully screen these requests based on my existing inventory and the potential value of the items offered in exchange. For example, once I traded a batch of high-quality tents and sleeping bags that I had stocked up on for a set of advanced water-making devices that could turn almost any source of water into clean drinking water. As the days passed, the progress bar of stocking up supplies for the apocalypse in my portable space was steadily increasing. Progress of stocking up supplies for the apocalypse, advanced stage 5% to 10%, 3,000 cubic meters. the countdown behind the crown treasure chest was also ticking away. Constantly reminding me that time was running out, I started to organize the supplies in my portable space more systematically. I divided different areas for food, daily necessities, weapons, medical supplies, and so on. It was like building a small but complete city within that space, with everything one could possibly need. One day, while I was busy with all this, I received a call from Timothy. His voice sounded a bit tired but still carried a sense of determination. He told me that the research and production of the 10 cubic meter portable spaces were progressing smoothly and that they were about to start distributing them to some key personnel and institutions. He also mentioned that they were setting up a series of survival training camps to teach people how to deal with zombies, find food in the wild, and build shelters. I told him about my recent gains in the container auction and the trades in the market. He listened carefully and praised me for my good judgment and efficient stocking up. After hanging up the phone, I felt even more motivated. I decided to go to some specialty factories to look for more unique items. I went to a chemical factory that produced special coatings. These coatings could make objects highly resistant to corrosion, heat, and even had a certain degree of protection against physical attacks. I bought a large quantity of them and planned to use them to reinforce the shelters or apply them to some important equipment in the future. Then I visited a factory that made high-strength ropes and cables. In the apocalypse, these could be used for climbing, setting up traps, or even building simple bridges across obstacles. I didn't hesitate to place a large order, as I continued my shopping spree for supplies. I also encountered some interesting little incidents. For instance, at a factory that produced solar panels, the factory owner was quite reluctant to part with his high-quality products at first, but when I showed him my determination and the potential benefits of cooperation, he finally agreed to sell me a large number of solar panels at a reasonable price. These solar panels would ensure that I had a stable source of electricity even in the darkest days of the apocalypse. I imagined that in the future, I could set up a solar power station on top of a tall building or in an open area within my shelter, allowing me to power my lights, communication devices, and other electrical appliances. With each new item added to my portable space, I felt more confident about facing the upcoming zombie apocalypse. I knew that I was doing everything I could to prepare for the worst and hope for the best, and as the countdown on the crown treasure chest continued to decrease, I was constantly on the lookout for any last-minute opportunities to further enrich my stockpile of supplies, ready to face whatever challenges the apocalyptic world would throw at me. The days flew by in this busy state of stocking up, and I was gradually approaching the final stage of my preparation journey.